All right, welcome to Niners Nightly. Larry Krueger back with you on the KMBR YouTube channel for the very first time this year. Welcome to Niners Nightly, and we will be with you from 6 until 7 o'clock on KMBR's YouTube channel when we're not on the radio. So tonight and tomorrow night, we're on YouTube. I believe later in the week, we'll have a show on the radio. But when the Giants are playing, and right now they are in Texas playing the Rangers, and they have a lead right now. And this game is not on NBC Sports Bay Area; it's on ESPN. But the Giants up 3-0 behind Logan Webb in the bottom of the third inning from that ballpark, Globe Life Field there in Texas. So we'll keep an eye on that. As the Giants made a bunch of trades today, they traded away 6 guys. I thought it was a good day for the Giants. But we're here to talk 49ers, and today was the 5th day of training camp, and the Niners have a whole slew of injuries already. And remind me if you've heard that before. The Niners have a lot of injuries, and most of them are minor, but man, they're really starting to pile up. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the 49ers in this hour, and we'd love to hear your comments or read your comments. And of course, hit like and subscribe. If you hit like, more people find the stream in the overall algorithm. If you hit subscribe, then every time anything happens over here at KMBR's YouTube channel, you are fired away and ready to roll. But right now, it says that we have 71 people in the room, and so there you go. Welcome to Niners Nightly. And during the season, during Niners Nightly on YouTube, we're going to do a bunch of different things. Sometimes we'll have guests. Sometimes we will monologue and talk a little bit about practice and what we saw. Sometimes we'll play audio clips and video clips that we see around the 49ers, and that's what we're going to do a lot tonight. So, right out of the chute, I asked Kyle Juszczyk, because one of the things I think is kind of interesting, obviously we're 5 days in. Ricky Pearsall already out for the year. He's on IR. Deebo Samuel has been re-signed. But one of the more interesting things to me was that before Deebo was re-signed, Kyle Juszczyk and George Kittle were like, you want to stay on my couch? Come on down. And they were very positive about Deebo. And I asked Juice about that today. And we'll share the screen and show you his answer. Interesting what he said about Deebo. Here it is. Here's a little juice. I don't know if my question is in there or not, but basically I said, you guys called Deebo. What's the deal? Why do you guys love Deebo so much?
Deebo's the best. He's such an incredible teammate. He's such a good friend. He's an incredible football player. So we're really happy to have him in the locker room just because he brings the best vibes and positivity. But we're also happy to have him on the field because he's still got juice and he still can go out there and make good plays. He came in, he looks like he's in phenomenal shape. His first day in pads, he's making an impact right away and just looked like the old Deebo. So I can't say enough positive things about how excited we are to have him.
Yeah, I think he said it right there. It's like they love this guy. He's their friend. They love him in the locker room. He's a good contributing factor there, but he still has juice. He's in great shape. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. That's why the Juices of the world and the Kittles of the world are so thrilled, because it's this is a guy who they think can play, and that's what they're excited about. They're most excited about the fact that he is a guy that can play the game. He can play. And if he can play, they want him on their side. That's really what it's about. When Deebo has been in shape, whether it's been at South Carolina in college or with the Niners, he's been damn good. When he's gotten out of shape, that's where things have kind of gone south. All right. Second audio clip we're going to listen to here is Omar Ruiz and the NFL Network, Alex Smith, MJD. They've all been in this week to see the 49ers. And they had a little sit down with Fred Warner. Mooch was there at practice yesterday, or I guess maybe it was 2 days ago. And here is a little sit down with Mooch.
You say installing different looks and different things, how much has, when you say installing different looks and different things, how much has this defense, because it's been a heck of a defense, how much does it change from year to year with each different coordinator?
Yeah, I mean, there's always differences, right? In the NFL, things are always evolving. Offenses keep getting bigger, faster, stronger, more and more movement, right? Our Shanahan system has flooded the entire NFL, so defenses have to evolve. We've evolved, and we're always just trying to look for an edge, right? And so defensively, the thing that can never be lost is style of play, right? We always got to be sprinting to the football, inflicting pain when we get there, and always trying to go for the ball.
Last one, Fred. So many veterans on this team. You guys are playing in Australia to start the season. Later, you're playing in Mexico. What can you do now in training camp to make sure your bodies are preserved for all that travel that you're going to endure and what we're all expecting to be the toughest division in football?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly not just about now. It's all year round, honestly, right? The whole off season, building your body up to endure such a long season, right? For me, I've always been a part of the postseason, right? And all those extra miles on your legs and body, all the contacts and hitting. You got to build the body up to be able to go hard every single day, right? I don't want to have to just take days off because I'm trying to conserve any sort of thing. I want to go 100 miles an hour every single time I'm out there, right? And let the coaches kind of protect us. But anytime my number's called, it's on.
It's on. Did you know you're going to be, rumor has it, you're going to Australia for 8 days ahead of time.
Is that what they're saying?
8 days? What are you going to do for 8 days?
I don't even know.
Right?
I don't know.
I'll give you some advice because my wife knows this. She's got relatives over there.
Yeah.
You're playing, it's not pronounced Melbourne, okay?
Melbourne.
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 Melbourne. I don't get it, but it's
All
Melbourne.
Right.
Okay?
Melbourne.
That's
Good.
how they say it over there.
All right.
Just helping you out, man.
Hey, I love the Melbournes.
Stay away from the koalas. Stay away from the kangaroos. Those kangaroos like to box, man. I know you guys are fighting. Thank you, Fred Warner. Good luck.
Hey,
Welcome back.
Have a great
talk
year,
to you
man.
later this
Thanks
season.
for
You guys are the best.
Yeah, man.
Let's send it back to you.
There you go, Fred Warner with Mooch on the NFL Network and Omar Ruiz. And they do a nice job. They really do a nice job. So there you go. There's another cut from the NFL Network. And we also have this one as well.
All right, fresh off the practice field. Fred Warner looking fresh. Now father of 2.
That's right.
Fred, how you doing? How was your offseason? How's the ankle feeling?
Man, everything's amazing. I'm super blessed. Feeling great. Off season was wonderful. Way too long. It was an extended off season with all that time off I had during the season with the injury. But I'm so happy to be back, flying around, feeling great.
Any limitations? Nothing.
Not at all, man. They both. Can you tell?
You tape your ankles?
No tape, no nothing.
I used to find guys if they didn't have their ankles taped.
Yeah.
You got
that tape ain't saving nothing.
Well, I don't want that fracture again.
No. We can't have that. They're sealed up.
Well, we know you were pushing a play in the playoffs. Had you guys gone maybe a little deeper, you might have returned even last year. So you look like you're flying around out there. Dre Greenlaw is flying around with you now.
Is he coming?
What's
watch out. He might come and hit somebody right now.
What's it been like to have him back with you?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Dre is one of the best football players that I've ever played with, right? And so to have him back, that's a brother to me. We're out there. We have an unspoken language where we know where one another's going to be out there. And every time we step in between the white, it's on, right? And so it's so much fun playing with Dre, and I'm so happy to have him back.
So you have, for the viewers out there, this guy has got the green dot on his helmet.
That's right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? That means that he's the quarterback of the defense. He gets the call from the coach on the sideline, and he makes sure it happens right. Okay.
Right.
Huge responsibility. But what's interesting here, Fred, is here comes Raheem Morris.
Yeah.
All right. He's a beauty, huh?
That's right. Oh,
He's
yeah.
a good one.
Come on.
Very experienced. You've had a different play caller in your ear for 5 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Raheem replaces Robert Saleh,
That's right.
and you had Steve Wilkes, and you had Nick Sorensen, and D'Amico Ryans.
Yep.
You had all this.
Mm-hmm.
How is it different? How is that adjustment? Because if you were a quarterback and I said you had a different play caller
Right.
5 years in a row,
Yeah.
you'd go crazy, right?
Well, luckily on defense, the play calls are like 1 or 2 words, right? So it's completely different from offensive play calls, but it is different, right? Just building that relationship between play caller and in my helmet. But man, it's been flawless. Raheem is one of the best to ever do it, and he's doing an amazing job with us, leading the group. Installing different things, different looks, giving the offense some trouble. So it's been awesome.
So there you go, a little Fred Warner with on the NFL Network and some good stuff there. Fred's always great. Fred is always great, and he's. I heard Matt Barrow say today at practice, Fred Warner could run for president. And he might be able to run for president. Stopped by practice today, and I gave him a big handshake and a big congratulations. Not that he cared to hear it from me, Mike Brown, head coach of the New York Knicks, the world champion Mike Brown. His son Cameron is a 49er assistant coach. So Mike Brown, who's a big Niner fan as well, was at practice. And I said, Mike, Larry Krueger, KMBR, interviewed you many times through the years when you were with the Warriors. We used to joke you about the chopper and all that. And I'm like, I just wanted to say, man, congratulations. Congratulations, man. This was your moment. This was your time. Man, the first title for the Knicks in 73. That is awesome, man. I gave him a big hearty handshake, patted him on the back, and said, hey, welcome to Santa Clara. And just good dude, just a great dude. He's like, Lair, thanks, man. I appreciate you. Here he is. The Niners went to Mike Brown and said, hey, Mike, how about giving us a little fire up speech? And he obliged. Here it is.
The Niners are great, man. I'm excited for the season. I'm always rooting them on. Giants, Jets, I apologize, but it is what it is. My heart, love, all that stuff is right here in the Bay Area. But ever since my youngest son became a part of the staff, I bleed orange and blue with the Knicks. But there's a little sliver in that heart when you slice it open that the red comes out. And I make sure everybody knows it when I'm back in New York.
There you go. The great Mike Brown. Such a gentleman, such a good dude. So happy for him. So happy for him. I mean, he's on top of the NBA world right now. He's the NBA champion with the New York Knicks. Amazing. Truly amazing. Great that he was there. And we asked Kyle Juszczyk after practice about it. And here's what, and they always, the players love it. It breaks up the monotony. And here's Juice on Mike Brown coming to Niners practice. Here we go.
They all that was so cool. Just talking about the championship teams that he's been on, just how each and every one of them had a standard. And they had a written standard that they all signed. I guess they would all go to dinner before the season started, and they would talk about what their standard was. And he told them that I would respect you more. If you don't believe in this standard, don't sign it. But if you do, let's sign it. And that way we can hold each other accountable in the good times and most importantly in the bad times on what that standard was. And I think that spoke really well to this organization because we've always talked about having this standard here. And I think we have such a great one, and one that, like, when our head coach goes down, everyone understands what that standard is. They understand what's expected from the guy next to them, that when leaders go down, next guy in line can hop right in there, and there's not a big fall off.
It's funny. It sounds like just like talk, but what do you think happened when the Niners lost Jimmy Garoppolo in the 22 season? Brock Purdy stepped in, and the team didn't miss a beat. Juice also weighed in today on Ricky Pearsall. A good break for Debo is a bad break for Pearsall. And here's Juice talking a little bit about how he has talked to Ricky.
It's just really unfortunate how things have played out for him. I feel for him so hard because I know for him what it's frustration in that he knows that he can be a really good wide receiver in the NFL, and he's shown it. He's had some incredible games, but it's just he's been held back by these injuries in the NFL, and I know how that feels. You just want to show the world, like, I can do this, but it keeps kind of get taken from him. But I just try to tell him, like, his story's not over. He's going to go get it fixed this year, and he'll come back next year healthy, nothing to restrict him, and he can go out there and do what he knows he can do.
Yeah. So, that's taking the high road. And unfortunately, these guys feel for each other. They know how physical the game is. They know how bad. He knows how bad Ricky wants it. And, one of the things that's come up this week is that with Debo back, Debo did everything today, by the way, short stuff, long stuff, running the ball between the tackles. The one thing that the Niners, though, have emphasized is that Debo this time around is willing to do the kick returner job on a full-time basis. He's done it in the playoffs in the past, but he's never done it full time. And we talked to Brant Boyer today after practice. Brant Boyer's really excited about Debo. Here's what he had to say about it.
I think John Lynch said that Debo is fully committed to returning. What does that mean to you? Is he now the kickoff return guy?
Well, it certainly, when they told me that he was coming, I was like, hell yeah, let's go, because he's a difference maker, and he's obviously proven, and he's done it at a very, very high level. So I'm really anxious. We were all talking about it, to get him in our scheme, and I've watched him, and really liked what he's done throughout his career. Liked him coming out of college, and he's a hell of a player, and he's really tough to tackle, and he's got speed to take it to the house all the time. So again, anytime you can add a guy like that to the roster, you're jumping up for joy as a special teams coach.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If you're a special teams coach, what do you want? Okay, ask yourself that question. What do you want to be a good special teams coach? Well, I want a good kicker. They've got a good kicker. They've Eddie Pinheiro. Okay, I'd like to have a punter that, could down it inside the 20 and maybe could give me some distance. Well, we'll see. They got Corliss Waitman and Jack Bomeister fighting it out. I want a veteran long snapper. I said hi today to John Weeks as he was doing some running on the side. I'm like, what's going on, John? And, John's like 45 years old or whatever. And he's fighting the good fight. But, he's a veteran long snapper. They have that. They have the kicking position nailed down. Now they've got, the kick return has become a big part of the game. And now they have a kick returner who they really believe in, and a guy who they think is super dynamic and can make big plays. So overall, Brant Boyer's got to be feeling good. He's got guys like Saron Neal today. Yesterday they picked up Titus Leo, who's going to be a special teamer. I asked him about that. He said, yeah, it's always nice to have a big-bodied guy like that who's athletic. So Boyer's feeling pretty good, and the Niners special teams have turned around. They've got multiple options for the punt returner job. I mentioned to him how Will Pauling is impressive to me, but he's got like 5 different guys that are vying for that punt return job. Now you got Debo as your primary kick returner. You got a couple coverage unit guys that are really good special teamers as well. You've got an established kicker. You've got a good competition at punter. You got an established long snapper. A lot of the key elements of having an efficient and quality special teams unit, the Niners have. So Brant Boyer, we'll see. We'll see. He was a nice addition last year, and I expect he's going to be even a nicer addition going forward. All right. Not everybody is optimistic about the Niners. Chris Sims. Let's hear Chris Sims. He's always a guy who likes to trash the Niners. Here, let's see what he had to say Here, let's hear what he had to say today about the 49ers.
Hey, they got Mike Evans. We know, legend, Hall of Famer, great. That's all. But, he missed games last year. A lot of them. Would you be shocked if Mike Evans missed 6 or 7 games again this year?
You probably bake in at least 3.
At least 3. Debo Samuel, no receiver's been through more car crashes in football through their career than Debo Samuel. What screams to me right now with more than anything is the 49ers are dicey. I am shocked at how much I hear right now, 49ers Super Bowl team. I'm sorry. I'll be rooting for him. He's my best buddy, but I do not look at the 49ers as a Super Bowl team. Playoffs, sure. Super Bowl, no. They got to prove that to me a little bit. Christian McCaffrey is on the downslope. George Kittle is not going to be 100% to start the year.
No.
Their offensive line has not been as dominant. Nick Bosa never stays healthy. Michael Williams, he's had health issues. Fred Warner's recovering from an injury. And then you couple that with the Shanahan injury and all that and go, damn, they're dealing with a lot. They're dealing with a lot out there in San Francisco. Hey, they got Mike Evans. We know, legend.
So Sims is not a believer. Playoff team? Sure. Super Bowl? What are we talking about? Most years that I watch the NFL playoffs, I feel like most of the playoff teams have a shot. Not always, but most years I feel like most of the playoff teams that I'm watching have some shot at the Super Bowl. But he doesn't think they have a shot. You know what? I would say bring it on. Bring on all the doubters. You don't have to be favored by everybody to win the Super Bowl. You can be the 5th choice or the 4th choice or the 10th choice. You don't have to be the favorite. The preseason favorite doesn't win every year. Do you want to know who the preseason favorite was for the Super Bowl last year? Do you guys remember? Does anybody in the chat want to guess who the preseason favorite to win the Super Bowl was last year? Who do you guys think? Rams? No. Seattle won it. Were they the preseason? Nope. Niners? No. It was Kansas City. Yes, there we go. Look at that. First guy jumped right in there. 404 _error_ page not found. We got this one as well. Jacob Gordon, Chiefs. 404. Is my guess Kansas City? Yes, your guess is Kansas City. Your guess is correct. It was Kansas City. Well, and it makes sense. They have Mahomes, Reed. They've been dominant. They got old. You know, they weren't very good. Really weren't very good. They were the favorite. So guess what? The favorite doesn't always win. So it's like the fact that Chris Sims is like, they're a playoff team, but not a Super Bowl team. All right, whatever. You know, I get it. It's a little bit of a projection. There's a lot of young players. There's some older players. There's some questions. I don't think I'd put Shanahan's health on the table as like something that's going to impact this. Do we really believe that? Does anybody really believe that Shanahan's health is going to prevent them from winning? Because I don't. I really don't. I asked Jair Brown about Dante Whitner today, indirectly. And Jair's my guy, so, or at least he was. Maybe he's not. Maybe I'm not. Maybe he's not my guy after asking this question today. But I didn't like the way that Dante Whitner went at Jair Brown. It's a hard game. It's not easy. Sometimes when you don't play the game, like the media, or when you haven't played the game in a while, like Whitner, sometimes you forget how hard it was and how hard it is. Dante Whitner was a great player in the NFL. You could argue a greater player than Jair Brown, right? But at the same point, was he? Or eventually did he become a better player? I bring that up because Dante Whitner made the Pro Bowl twice, I think. But it was like his 7th year, his 9th year, his 10th year. It was late in his career. Jair Brown's in like his 4th year. He's entering his 4th year. He's played 3 years. He's already played in the Super Bowl. He's had an interception of Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He's had some big plays. I thought he played really well in Philadelphia last year. He's had some big moments. He's also had some inconsistencies. He's had 5 different defensive coordinators coming into this year. That doesn't help. And Dante kind of raked him a little bit. And so I asked Jair about it today. I didn't necessarily bring up Dante's name. I wasn't trying to make the spot super hot. But I wanted him to give me his perspective on the criticism that he's received. And I wanted to know how he felt about it. And here's what he had to say. Some good stuff here.
Put our own perspectives.
Sure. How do you know, you took some public criticism from some ex-players this year in the offseason. You got a lot of people who want to grade you, judge you, evaluate you. How do you block out some voices and hear others? How do you compartmentalize that whole thing?
It's something we do as humans. You know, we like to judge and, put our own perspectives and our own opinions on others. Whether they're completely wrong or completely right, everybody feels like their opinion should be evaluated, should be taken serious. And it's all opinions at the end of the day. The guys in this building know what's going on. My teammates know what's going on. My coaching staff and my owners know what's going on. So I'm really just focused on them, man, and the people in this building, making them proud, making the franchise proud. All the outside noise, it doesn't bother me. I'm not really a big social media guy.
I love that answer, man. I thought that was a phenomenal answer. He's not angry at Whitner. He's not trying to get back. He's not, vowing revenge. Just chill. Just, hey, man. I think the word he was looking for is validated. People are looking for their criticism and their evaluation to be validated. Now, Dante Winters is a smart football player, and he's got his own criticism, and I won't go through and try to break down Dante's criticism in this forum and try to make sense of it, other than to say that he knows what he's talking about, right? We all know that Dante knows what he's talking about, and that he played the position, and that he played it at a high level, and that Brown has been a little inconsistent throughout his career. He's made a lot of great plays, but he's also, had some busts and some problems and some penalties and some, coverage breakdowns. Doesn't help when you have a crappy pass rush. I mean, let's lay it out there. I don't like to mince words. When you're dead last in the NFL with 20 sacks and you're 6 fewer than the Jets and you have absolutely no pass rush at all, guess what? You could have John Lynch back there. You could, pick your safeties. You want Ed Reed. You could have Ronnie, whatever your Atwater, Fulcher. You name whatever safety you think is the best. You could put the best safeties in the world in the history of the league. You could put them out there. They ain't going to cover jack if there's no pass rush. Same thing on the corner. You could have Deion Sanders on one side. You could have, who's the greatest corners you can think of? Lester Hayes back in the day. The Raiders, I loved Lester Hayes. The Stickum. Lester Hayes was awesome. He was a total nuisance. He was a great player, and then the Stickum even made him greater. But, take your greatest corner. I'll put Deion Sanders as the great. Take Deion Sanders, clone him, let him play right corner and left corner, and he's still going to get toasted if there's no pass rush. That's the point. I'm not giving Jair Brown an excuse. He needs to improve. He knows he needs to improve. But I like that answer. I don't know what you guys thought. I'd love to hear in the chat what you guys thought of that answer. I think that was a very mature answer. It's like he's not mad. He's not aggravated. He's very measured, thoughtful in his answer. Hey, you know what? Everybody's got an opinion. They want it validated. I'm not a big social media guy. I got, the people that I need to validate me, my teammates, my coaches, my ownership, my organization that I work for, the Niners. I feel like I'm communicating with them. I'm good with them. So I'm good. I loved it. I thought it was a great answer. And it was great closure too. It was like, all right, you talked a bunch of mess on me on social media. Then when I tried to, quell it privately, you then outed me as the guy who was trying to quell the criticism, so I lost again. So then you burned me with your rip, but then you burned me again with your, telling everybody out of school that I contacted you. I think Dante kind of broke a player's code, but whatever. He knows that code better than I do. Maybe there is no code. Maybe it's every man for themselves. Apparently it is. But I love that answer from Jair. Measured, mature, focused. He's got the right perspective. Has it all in perspective. I thought it was great. I thought it was really good. Thought it was maybe one of the best answers I've heard at the podium this year. I thought that was great. That was great. Jair wasn't done. We also have one more here on Jair that I think is really good. Jair was asked about. He's like he's loving Raheem Morris in the scheme, and he talked about that today. He said this is his favorite camp. Here it is.
Jair, how's camp going for you so far?
Camp is going great. My favorite camp, honestly, since I've been here. I love this scheme. I love this scheme. I love the teammates I got. I'm comfortable this year for me. And I'm honestly having fun, bro. Having fun. And I can't remember last time I had this much fun.
Some of the other DBs have talked about how Raheem has kind of stripped away some of the, just hard to grasp details, just made it easier to grasp, I suppose. Can you do you feel the same way, first of all, and if so, can you kind of enlighten us on what that means?
Absolutely. Raheem's dope, bro. Super dope. He wants football players, previous schemes we've been in, haven't wanted that. Raheem wants you to play football. He wants instinctive players. He wants guys who can just, get out there and play ball and read the quarterback. So scheme fits all of us, man. And it's been great to see us transition into this explosive D-back unit.
When you said that the scheme, or you like this system, or what is it about it that you like so much?
Me personally, it fits more into my strong suits, reading a quarterback, being reactive, let my instincts take over. Probably the best part of my game. So that's what I love about this scheme over the last schemes I've been in. Whoops is a lot similar, but yeah.
Good stuff from Jair. And, I understand why Niner fans are frustrated with him because DB, it's kind of like DBs without pass rush. It's kind of like the baseball equivalent of relief pitchers without a team that has no offense, right? You go to a Giants game and they can't hit, and they've scored 3 runs, and now they're going to some relief pitcher in the 7th, and he gives up a 2-run bomb. Okay, and you lose. You lose by a run, and everybody walks out of the stadium going, "Damn it, that whatever, Barucki or whatever reliever gave it up." But in reality, it's like, hey, you only scored 3 runs. You can't expect to win. These relievers are not perfect. They're not going to throw shutout ball every time. So you got to score some runs, So it's like, is it really the reliever? And the same thing could be said here with the DBs. It's like the DBs, Jair gave up a big play. Okay. But the quarterback had 4 seconds in the pocket to survey the field and, really look and decide what he wants. And there's no rush up front. Nobody's speeding him up. It's just, he's just sitting back there picking you apart. So these things all go together. It's a team sport. But I do, you can see he really, really likes Raheem Morris. And I think if there's one theme that we've seen in the first 5 days, and we've seen a few themes, one of them being injuries, but one of the themes we've seen is that the defensive backfield of the 49ers across the board looks more comfortable than they've looked in the past. Now, I'm not sure why. Is that Raheem? Is that Raheem simplifying the scheme, letting guys play fast? Is it his explanation of what his expectations are of each and every player? I don't know. We have to get more into it as the weeks go on here. We'll ask Raheem more questions. But I do think it's also partly because, there's an old saying in football. If you match up, you play man. If you don't match up, you play zone. Okay. So it's always thought that if you got corners and you can play man-to-man, you play man-to-man. And if you don't have great corners, maybe you play some form of a zone to try to cover the fact that you don't have great man-to-man coverage players that can mirror athletic receivers, all over the field. Okay. The Niners under Saleh did a lot of zone coverages. And for corners, that can be even more difficult to play than man coverage. Man coverage principles are taught everywhere at the high school level, the college level. And a lot of the principles that you play for man coverage are the same principles, whether you're in college or the pros. Where zone, zone can be a 2-3 zone that you see in 4th grade basketball where everybody just stands there and puts their hands up. Or it could be like some super athletic Syracuse, Jim Boeheim matchup zone where it's basically like he's playing trap games and it's a super aggressive, super, it's a defined zone that you're playing very, very aggressively. And it's almost it can be even more throttling than great man-to-man defense in a half-court basketball situation. Well, it's the same thing in football. Sometimes it's easier for these guys, the young players, to play man than it is to play effectively in zone. Sometimes they get passive in zone. Sometimes all of a sudden they're a step behind in zone. And the Niners have Renardo Green. At Florida State, he played predominantly man-to-man. They just brought in Jack Jones. Jack Jones is a man-to-man corner, and he's playing really well this summer. He's had a couple big PBUs today. Then you look at some of these other guys. Demo Lenore looks more comfortable playing man than zone, but he's good in the zone. Ephesians Prysock, Nate Hobbs, Darrell Luter at South Alabama played almost always, even when they played, some form of a zone or a cloud on the other side. He's playing man to man. He played off man. He played press man up on the line, but he exclusively played man at South Alabama. Luter always played man. Well, he's jumped into the NFL, and he's played for multiple coordinators who have him playing predominantly zone, and he's kind of reactive in the zone. He's there. He's not getting burned for 6 left and right. He's just not quite the tight coverage that you want in the zone. Well, guess who's looked better this summer? Darrell Luter Jr., Bernardo Green, Jack Jones, Ephesians Prysock. These guys look good playing man-to-man. So something to watch for. When you blitz, you got to play man behind. And Raheem Morris likes to blitz more. So if you like to blitz more, then get ready to play more man-to-man coverage on the back end. And then if you're playing man-to-man, do you have guys who can play man-to-man? I think the Niners actually, believe it or not, have 2 or 3 corners that might even be better at man-to-man than zone. And so I think that's another reason why Raheem's defense, I think, really fits the 49ers. All right, a couple more sound bites here. ESPN talking Niners this morning. Dog, Stephen A, Screaming A, one of the Patriots' former defensive backs. They're all sitting here on the set. Have the 49ers missed their Super Bowl window? You got to love the Northeast, man. They love and obsess the negative. It's better than sitting there and saying, they're great. They're always looking though for the flaw. They're always looking for the negative angle. It's kind of funny. It's the ESPN way. Always look for the negative angle. They find it a lot more interesting. They're probably right. Here they're discussing, have the Niners missed their window?
I have no doubt that if they're healthy, they can answer the call. My question is, can we expect them to be healthy come postseason time? And, oh, by the way, I didn't even bring up the fact that they're in the same division as the reigning defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, who ain't going anywhere, and the Los Angeles Rams, who are the favorites, and not just because they got Garrett, not just because I think that Aaron Donald is coming back, but you got not one but 2 cats in McDuffie and Watson from Kansas City. I mean, damn. And that's defense. Offensively, you see what they got. And I'm looking at them and I'm like this. You got Williams, you got Stafford, the league MVP, you got Puka Nacua. Lord have mercy. I mean, I'm just looking around and I'm like, no disrespect to San Francisco. Yeah. You got a good team. You're just in the wrong damn division. That's their problem. I see 3rd place. I have no doubt that if they're healthy, they can answer the call. My question is, can we expect them to be healthy come postseason time? And, oh, by the way, I didn't even bring up the fact that they're in the same division as the reigning defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, who ain't going anywhere, and the Los Angeles Rams, who are the favorites, and not just because they got Garrett, not just because I think that Aaron Donald is coming back, but you got not one but 2 cats in McDuffie and Watson from Kansas City. I mean, damn. And that's defense. Offensively, you see what they got. And I'm looking at them and I'm like this. You got Williams, you got Stafford, the league MVP, you got Puka Nacua. Lord have mercy. I mean, I'm just looking around and I'm like, no disrespect to San Francisco. Yeah. You got a good team. You're just in the wrong damn division. That's their problem. I see 3rd place.
God. The thing about Screaming A, you know what they say? They say a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. That's what he has when it comes to football. He has a little bit of knowledge. And so that becomes a dangerous thing. I don't think there's any doubt that the Rams, first team Rams, look really good. But depth matters in the NFL. And the Niners' 2nd team and 3rd team are quite a bit better. Now, we'll find out. If the Niners keep having these massive injury, colossal numbers of injuries, it won't work out that way. But the Rams are better. Their Rams starters are better than the Niners starters, but the Niners bench is better than the Rams bench. And Seattle's defense is really stacked, but they're really more of a one. It's not a deep wide receiver core. They lost Kenneth Walker. They've lost some key guys on defense. They lost their offensive coordinator. It will not be a just smooth sailing kind of year for the Seahawks either. So I think it's a much more open. Anybody can look at last year and be like, these two teams were the best in the division. Who do you like? These two teams. But, that's not the way football works. Football, some teams get better. Some teams get worse. Teams go up. Teams go down. And we'll see. We'll see with this year. I get it. The Rams are really good, and they got Myles Garrett. Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and they've added some decent players in the offseason, even though they've lost a few. Doesn't mean they're going to win the Super Bowl. Doesn't mean the Niners are. But, it's easy to look at last year's, it's easy to look at the Derby and say, hey, that horse finished 1, and the second horse finished 2, and the third horse finished 3. And, but sometimes the horse that finished 7th in the Derby wins the Preakness. So how do you explain that? So it's the way you play, the day you play. And it's also, it's about how you come out of it physically. And in football, it's a lot about depth. All right, let's hear one more breakdown on the Niners. First things first, the Fox crew with Broussard. They're bemoaning the injury situation for the 49ers.
A lot to digest there. What do you think all of this? Oh, and a lot to digest there. What do you think all of this? Oh, and Mike Evans missed practice today with a quad. No big deal, just a quad. What's this mean for your guy Purdy?
I just don't know what to say about the Niners. Right. They are, all the injury, it's just ridiculous. But for Purdy, look, right now I'm assuming Mike Evans will be healthy.
Yes.
Okay. That might be a
35-year-old
bad
receiver
assumption.
Been injured each of the last 2 years. I'm sure his training game is I'm sure he'll be healthy.
Because
the oldest receiver in the league, he's been hurt the last 2 years. He's already hurt. I'm assuming
Is he
he'll be
the
healthy.
oldest in the league
of starting receivers? He's got to be. He's got. There's not old. Yeah, wait
to see the Chiefs sign.
Yeah,
you
guys are looking around. Fine, but go ahead. Sorry.
But look, last year Purdy had a good year with Jawan Jennings. The typical number 3 is their number 1. So if Evans is there, and you got Christian Kirk, if he's there, Kittle is obviously if he's there. I think Purdy can still have a good year. I think the key will be he needs McCaffrey to have his typical year,
which is what I'm concerned about.
Right
after the way he was used last year.
Yeah, I think Purdy will be good, but I think they need for them to have a playoff type season or be make the playoffs because they don't want to just be close. They need McCaffrey to have his typical year close, and the defense has to be good and healthy.
And they lost Salah,
and so, but I think Purdy with Evans and Kirk can play well and be fine.
Okay. It's funny. A scouting buddy of mine, a couple of years ago, when people were like, "Hey, man, Purdy is made by these Avenger receivers," he said to me, "Krug, don't fall for that." He said Brock Purdy could succeed with any group of receivers, and this was before, last year. This was a couple of years ago when he was doing it with Ayuk and Debo and Kittle and CMC. And people are like, he's just a product of his surrounding cast. And this guy's like, hey, man, no. Brock Purdy can make other receivers look good. And sure enough, he did. He made Jennings look good. He made Bourne look good. He made everybody look good. He made Demarcus Robinson look good. I'll tell you, there's a receiver in camp that I really like, and it's Wesley Grimes. And my buddy John Chapman did a great breakdown. He does like a breakdown on I think it's 90 guys in 90 days or something like that. He breaks down everybody. But here he's talking about UDFA Gem Wesley Grimes. Listen to this breakdown by John Chapman.
He separates very, very well. I remember we were doing the countdown, the roster countdown series, and I'm just like watching this tape, and I'm just like, dude, this is really good tape. It's just not consistent. But he passes whatever eye test you want. Yeah, it's an undrafted free agent. He looks good, man. I'm just telling you, he looks good. And it was so funny because every single time he'd make a play, you'd hear somebody go, "Is that Debo?" It wasn't Debo. Looked like Debo, not Debo. Now, I'm not saying he's like a lock for the 53. I'm just saying there is like ones-on-ones, he's separating vertically. He's got good, clean breaks. His body is huge. He's a hands catcher. He separates very, very well.
Yeah. Good stuff by Chapman, and he's right. Wesley Grimes. Wesley Grimes. I mean, this is the beauty of football. This is the beauty of training camp. You can have all the greatest plans. Ricky Pearsall is going to bust out. He's going to have a year. He's going to be amazing. He's going to get outperformed this year by Wesley Grimes. Who? Wesley Grimes. So the Niners, this was interesting to me. Okay, so think about this. 49ers signed Mike Evans. They had Ricky Pearsall coming back for former first-round pick. They signed Christian Kirk. Those were going to be your 3 starting receivers. This is pre-Debo. Then they used a second-round pick, a high second-round pick on Deshaun Stribling. They knew they still had invested 4th-round picks in Cowing and Watkins. They had the veteran there in Demarcus Robinson. And they had a receiver that Brant Boyer, their special teams coach, really loves in Junior Bergen. And then they still went out in the undrafted free agent market and bid against other teams and guaranteed some money to get Will Pauling and Wesley Grimes to be their 8th and 9th, their 9th and 10th receivers. And Pauling, I remember watching these guys for the first time. Pauling was an amazing story. 42.5-inch vert, 4.37 speed, 6 touchdowns for Notre Dame, only 2 drops all year. Wisconsin transfer, really mature. And Pauling's looked really good. He looks very comfortable catching punts, maybe the most comfortable. I saw the receiver coach today dap him up after one of the reps that he had in the team period. So he's doing some good things. Wesley Grimes it's like I'm watching this guy, and when I start watching this guy, I'm like, what the heck? Why did this guy not get drafted? Talking about a 6'3" receiver who's about 195, which is, that's good NFL size. That's like almost prototypical NFL size. 6'2.5", 6'3", 195 pounds, lean, fast, ran 4.35 for the stopwatch. 4.35 is cooking. That's cooking. That's cooking if you're 5'8". When you're 6'3", that's really cooking. But then, you know what? I've watched so many receivers through the years that can run, and they're just not tough. And so I embarked on this exercise to go find Wesley Grimes' NC State tape. And I saw this guy taking monster hits in the middle of the field and holding on. I mean, monster hits. As big a hit as you're going to take in the NFL. And then I started watching this guy practice through the first 5 days, and I'm like, look at this guy. He's got really good hands. He plucks the ball with big hands. He's very, very explosive. And he's got the kind of gait that you just take bad angles on him because it looks, he's faster than he looks. And he's looked really good on the practice field. So, man, I mean, remember that name in the preseason. Wesley Grimes, Will Pauling, those 2 guys, undrafted free agents. Probably were headed towards being cut. But now, look at this thing. You got Evans and Debo. Christian Kirk's got an injury. You got Stribling. Right now, he's out with a bulky hammy. He'll be back. Cowing, to me, has shown very little in the practices. Watkins has shown a lot. Bergen has shown more than Cowing. But then Grimes and Pauling are bigger talents than Bergen. You got Demarcus Robinson there. I mean, you got bodies here. That's what I love about the NFL, though. It's the ultimate meritocracy. Jim Harbaugh used to use that word a lot. Meritocracy. It's merit-based. Whoever does it, does it. Whoever seizes the moment, seizes the moment. The jobs are there for the taking. Who's going to go take it? And that's the question. And it really sets up one of the great, questions in the preseason, which is, who are we looking for in the preseason? Wesley Grimes. Looking for Wesley Grimes. Something tells me Wesley Grimes is going to be pretty good. All right. John Middlecoff weighed in as well on the 49ers. And Middlecoff's one of my favorites. He's always interesting. Works with Cowherd. Why do the 49ers miss on first-round picks? Okay, I haven't seen this video. Let's watch it together.
Why do the 49ers keep their first-round draft picks, just trade them away? What do you think the issue is? Instead of Ricky Pearsall, the 49ers could take Ladin McConkey or Braden Fisk. But at the time, people thought the Rams were insane for taking Braden Fisk. And I think there's a lot of randomness to the draft. People think you overdraft a guy, then he becomes really good. People think you underdraft a guy, then he sucks. I think the 49ers are very, very lucky to have Kyle because they've had a lot of disasters in the draft. They've had some legendary hits. Fred, I think, in the 3rd, George in the 5th, Purdy, obviously, but they've had a lot of disasters. I mean, disasters. But that's why your head coach, who's the play caller, is extremely important. The Cardinals, the Dolphins, you just go around the league. These teams couldn't overcome it. Most teams can't. And it can bite you in the ass on a given year.
Yeah. 3 and Out pod. You can catch it on Netflix. Middlecoff does a good job. All right. Let's talk about what he just said there. I totally agree with him. Now, you can make the only thing is you can't absolve Kyle of blame in the draft because a lot of those picks are probably his impulsive picks. You telling me that somebody else traded up for Dante Pettis, some other offensive guru unbeknownst to Kyle? No, it was Kyle. Did some other offensive guru decide he wanted CJ Beathard in the 3rd round? No, it was Kyle. Did another offensive guru want Joe Williams, Trey Sermon, Ty Davis-Price, Danny Gray, Jalen Hurd? We can go on and on and on. No, those were Kyle. So I agree. I agree with Middlecoff, but I'm going to push back. He's absolving Kyle of all blame and saying, aren't we lucky to have Kyle? Kyle, the coach, is really saving us. And he's right. Kyle, the coach, is really saving us. But us is Kyle, the GM. Kyle, the coach, is just slightly outpacing Kyle, the GM. And thus, he's been able to stay ahead of the curve and still be hailed as a genius. But there's been a ton of misses and a lot of misses on the offensive side of the ball. And it's just not plausible to think that Kyle Shanahan is not directly or indirectly responsible for many, many of those offensive failure picks. So I agree with him. They're lucky to have Kyle the play caller because they've been imperfect drafting. But that's also Kyle's fault because Kyle's had a huge hand in it, and maybe his feel for play calling and play sequencing is not as great or is greater, far greater, I should say, than his feel for whatever, running backs, wide receivers. You know, the Niners did have some big hits, but they're all early in the regime. George Kittle, Fred Warner in the 3rd round, DJ Jones in the 6th round. You know, a lot of them are early picks. They haven't had a lot of big-time awesome picks lately other than Brock Purdy. So that's kind of what they need. They need another – they either need to just be – they just need to be more efficient in the draft. And if they're more efficient in the draft, if they're better in the draft, they're going to be better as a football team, and they're probably going to get that Super Bowl. And if they are not, they probably are not going to get that Super Bowl. So it's really as simple as that. One more cut I want to play. This was from earlier today as well. This is also Good Morning Football. You know, there's a lot of information out about the injuries and this and that. The Niners are one of the most injured teams. I'm just going to let somebody else do that one because Yes, there's some good, compelling data out there, but it's really hard to sit. There's a lot of factors here. I don't think it's as simple as you can look at the breakdown and be like the Niners are the fourth most injured, third most injured, and they've been among the most injured football teams in football over the last decade. Is it the substation? I mean, God, I can't even address it anymore. It makes my ears bleed. But one more breakdown on the Niners and then a wide receiver core on Good Morning Football. Manti Te'o on the left. I'm not sure who's on the right here.
We're singing the same song, man. Don't panic. Don't panic at all. When you look at this offense and you look at this wide receiver core, you got Mike Evans, who's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and Brock Purdy talked about it. You can throw the ball up to him. He's a jump ball, like a 70-30 type guy on the outside. And, Manto, you talked about Debo. And what I like about Debo, he knows the offense. He's familiar with the offense. He's a guy you can put in the slot, jet sweeps, screens. You can even motion him in the backfield with Christian McCaffrey. And it's like, okay, what defense are we going to play against this look? Are we going to be nickel? Are we going to bring out a linebacker, bring in a DB? Are we going to bring out two linebackers, bring in two DBs and play dime? Or are we going to play base? Like you said, you have to pick your poison against these guys. And what they do so well with that offensive scheme, they draw up the plays and they make sure that the players that they have on the field are the players, and they make it very, very valuable to who they are as a person, who they are as a player. And when you look at this receiver core, one thing I'll say, Christian Kirk is hurt, right? But it's a soft tissue injury. He's another guy that can play the slot. I'm not too worried about it. There's gonna be little nicks, there's gonna be little bumps in training camp. But when you look at him as a whole, and Kittle coming back from that Achilles, we don't know. But when they all come together and they gel, and like Kyle, you said it early, this is training camp. You don't have to gel right now. You don't have to be the healthiest right now. But when this thing gets together, they'll be a scary team.
Yeah, I kind of think he's right. I'm just not sure exactly when that's going to be. When are they going to get Kittle back? My guess is October. I'd rather see it be in November, to be completely honest. But my guess is it's going to be October that he'll be back. All right, that's going to do it for us. Couple last thoughts before we call it an hour here on KNBR YouTube for Niners Nightly. And thanks to all of you guys. We're here every night, 6 p.m. Niners Nightly on the KNBR YouTube channel. And then when we're not, that's when we're not on the radio. And when we're on the radio, so tomorrow night we'll be back on YouTube. I think later in the week we'll be on the radio. We'll be on the radio when there's no Giants baseball or Giants baseball in the daytime. Other than that, when there's Giants baseball in the night, like right now, the Giants are leading the Rangers 3-0. Giants top 7 in Texas. That game's going on. It's on the radio, so that's why we're here on KNBR, KNBR's YouTube channel. A couple quick thoughts. One, today we saw Khalil Herbert, who's a little bulkier and thicker than some of the other running backs they have. But I think the 49ers are going to have enough at running back with CMC, Jordan James, Kalen Black, Khalil Herbert. They'll have enough juice as the fullback. I think Purdy and Jones give them high-level quarterback play. Ton just gives them a really good receiver. Luke Farrell's actually had, believe it or not, a pretty good camp so far. I think he's kind of been impressive. The offensive guards, I think, are the biggest improved guys, Dom Pooney and Connor Colby. And if those guys really play at a high level, that's going to help them quite a bit. And then receiver-wise, it's going to look a whole lot different because these receivers are just a lot more dynamic. They're not 4'6", 4'7" guys, 4'8" guys. They're guys who can run sub 4'4". Christian Kirk's a 4'4" guy. But like Stribling, Cowing, Watkins, Grimes, and Pauling all run in the 4.3s. And we've seen Brock Purdy have a lot of success when he has no separation. He's going to have separation this year down the field, and I think he's going to make big plays down the field. I think the route combinations are going to look different. A lot of it's going to be, can McKivitz and Trent and the Niner O-line pass protect to give him the time. But I think the speed at receiver is going to have a big impact, and you're going to see it right away, even in the preseason. And then on the defensive side of the ball, the 49ers still have a very deep defensive line, and there's a great competition going on at defensive tackle. Why? Because Bryson Eason and James Thompson Jr., 2 undrafted free agents who Chris Kasarik told me, hey, these are draftable players. Well, they both look really good. Thompson is strong as anything. He's stronger than DJ Jones. Bryson Eason is 320 pounds. He's quick. He's a former linebacker. He's got tree trunks for legs, and he's quick. They've added 2 really good players there. I mean, I'm not even mentioning Oso Digizua and Grayson Halton, their 4th-round pick. Really, those guys should even be better. But Eason and Thompson are real. The other thing that's real is that Nick Martin looks really good in this defense. And Jaden Duggar today was used as a linebacker and as a defensive lineman. You're going to see a mix. You also have a much more aggressive, playing tight coverage, feeling good, and developing secondary. So I think the Niners are still 1 big defensive lineman away, maybe 2. But the rest of the thing on defense looks really, really, really pretty good. And on offense, the additional speed looks really good. All right, that's going to do it for us. Quick hour. Some nights we'll put the call screen thing in the chat and we'll take some video calls. Sometimes we'll just sit here and go through the chats. We could go through them right now. Improved wide receiver room, linebacker room, and defensive tackle. We got this one from Jay LaRue. I think Nick Martin is the best of the young players. He'll be a 49er for a while. He's awesome. I mentioned to Dre Greenlaw, I'm like, hey, man, Nick Martin, what do you think? He's like, baller. 1-word answer, baller. We got a guy weighing in on the injuries, the last hero. But it's that simple, Larry. Niners have had terrible injury luck since 2014. Before that, the Niners were generally healthy. Well, how do you explain it then? Because the substation's been there for decades. Either way, I was talking to Dave Lombardi about this today at practice. We both would love to see them move, for the optics, maybe get closer to the city. I don't know. My guess is they're going to build another facility within a mile or 2 of their current facility, but maybe not. Maybe they start looking towards, getting back towards the bay, back towards the city. Wouldn't bother me if they, since I live up closer to the city, wouldn't bother me if they made the new practice facility a little closer to the bay. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to all of you. Have a great night. If you want more Niner talk tonight at 9 p.m. in 2 hours from now, Dieter Kurtenbach and I will go co-live stream on the Krueger Show on YouTube and on his YouTube channel as well. So we'll be on from 9 to roughly 10:30 talking about a lot of these topics and other things as well. So catch that later on tonight. And if you enjoyed tonight, or even if you didn't, we'll see you tomorrow night at 6 on The Sports Leader. Peace.